All right, we're here at my tiny worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we decided to give it its last slow food feeding and its last bit of shredded cardboard. And that's because this bin is starting to get towards harvest. Probably in about a month, month and a half, we're going to harvest it. And this newspaper that I'm taking out right now, it was completely whole last time. And wow, one of the things I'm seeing is a lot of mites right there. So I think they are liking the moisture that that newspaper held right here. And this was the plastic that we had been putting on, and it helped to put moisture right here, and that newspaper is completely gone from there. So just from the looks at the top, it looks like the bin is drying out a little bit, and something that I see right here is a cocoon. So the worms are still reproducing. That's fantastic. So let's dig in and see if they ate all of that slow food in here, and we gave them a Brussels sprout leaf stem, some apple cores, banana peels, a whole tomato, some onions, some strawberry tops, a carrot, a peach core, some pepper tops, and tangerine peels. And it was 19 days since we were in here, so they had a lot of time to do it. And as soon as I kind of take some of this bedding and castings away, you're seeing lots of worms right here. So let's kind of dig underneath and see what we've got. And all kinds of good worms. I'm hearing a little crunchy sound, and sure enough, that is the whole tomato. I think that is what is left after 19 days of a whole tomato. That is pretty cool. And right here, this must be from the peach core that we put in here. That's just the seed left. And what else? Some more skin. This looks like from an onion. Let's come on over here and see what we've got. Some odds and ends. This looks like maybe some fibers from those broccoli leaves, or I'm sorry, Brussels sprout leaves. And then this is the telltale sign of a banana peel stem with the peel completely gone. And I've got a great worm right there, another worm on my finger here, and right here is kind of a juvenile. And look at it, it still has the telltale sign of a red wiggler, which is a yellow tail and pink towards the top of it. And even this baby right here has a yellow tail, so really cool looking. All right, let's keep digging in and see how the moisture is doing with the castings that are in here. And it does feel a little bit less moist. It is still really moist, and we are at day 124, and my average has been somewhere around 164 days in this bin. I've harvested this thing 4 times, so I've got a pretty good idea of how long it takes. And since we're about 40 to 50 days away, I think it's a good idea to kind of let it forage a little bit, but also feed it, because I want them to eat all this shredded cardboard that we're seeing here. So we are not going to put any more shredded cardboard in here. What we're going to do is give them some kind of special bedding that I like to give them as I'm getting closer to harvest. Look at this deep dark worm here. I love it. Another one right here. They're just such beautiful creatures that turn all of our food scraps into fertilizer for our gardens, and I love it. Things are drying out a little bit here, which is good. And I know I use that word dry. This is anything but dry. It's just a lot less moist than it was. In fact, I can kind of squeeze it together and it clumps, but then look, it still flows. It's not muddy, it's not sticky, so I am real happy with how this bin is doing. So let's keep digging around, and I'm just going to aerate the rest of it, and then we'll come back for our feeding. As you can see, as I'm aerating, there are pieces of what looks like new cardboard in here, and that's because up until that last feeding, we were putting lots of cardboard in. In fact, that last feeding, we put some cardboard in. But we're going to stop that because we want them to eat all of this down. So if you've watched my other videos, this is a little bit different than the way we set up for our feeding. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down the bedding that we're going to use. And from now on, we're going to be using big pieces of cardboard. These are just toilet paper rolls. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I have no intention of leaving these in all the way to harvest. What we're going to do is put these in here like this so that the castings can get a little bit drier by these absorbing the moisture within them. And then what's going to happen is I'm just going to pull these out whole and kind of dust them off and make sure all the stuff is off them. But these are just going to go into another bin. So now I'm just going to do the other side as well. And we go with a couple more, and I think we've run out of room. So there we go. We've got whole pieces of bedding in here that we're going to be able to take out, and that should help to absorb some more of the moisture. And then right on here, we're going to put our feeding, and it is going to be the last time that we feed any fast food scraps. So we're done with slow food. This is the last time for fast food. So here we go. Here's what we had in mind. We've got some strawberry tops, and then we also have some lettuce stalks, and these are full of water. So they are going to hydrate the worms, hydrate the bin, and release their moisture. But this is nowhere near the amount of food that I put in here, so it's not going to be too much, but this is the last time we're going to do this. So Jane over at Rockin' Worms and Peggy over at Peggy Helbling's Garden What You've Got both showed us a great technique, which is to dry your food scraps and then pulverize them if your bin is too moist and you want to dry it out. So I'm going to give some more of their feeding from this. Now I have a dehydrator. I'm not really one that likes to spend a lot of time preparing food for worms, but if it's just for a couple feedings right before the harvest, hey, why not? I also don't necessarily like to use electricity to feed my worms. I'm trying to keep it low cost, but this right here is so much food. It has orange peels and onions and banana peels and strawberries and lettuce and I mean just all kinds of stuff, and not all of it pulverized, but I'm going to put it all in. And to me, this is just like feeding a huge feeding to them without all the moisture. So I'm going to keep trying this technique. In fact, the next feeding is probably going to be just this. But I'm also going to go in with our worm chow and all our other amendments because every one of those is dry. So in we go with that. And that worm chow is super easy to make. It's just dried grains from my pantry that I put in my Magic Bullet blender and pulverized. And here's just some used coffee grounds, another good food source for them. And then finally, we'll continue to go in with some pulverized eggshell, which is just grit for the worms, and it adds a lot of nutrients to my garden. I am really excited about this feeding, and every one of those last 4 ingredients that I put in here, I use my Magic Bullet blender, which I've got affiliate links in the description and the pinned comment if you want to check out that and see how much it costs. But I use that for so many things. One, to grind our coffee beans for our morning coffee, but also to make smoothies, and the worms benefit because they get all this pulverized goodness for them. So this is awesome. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. And in my next video, I'll give you an update. But I really want to thank Jane and Peggy for putting those videos out because it was like a eureka moment for me as I'm trying to dry this bin out a little bit towards harvest. So I think that can work out for you as well. If you've got a bin that's probably a month to maybe a month and a half out and you want to try and start driving it towards harvest and make it so that your castings are real flowy and ready to go. So if you've been putting plastic on, that kind of thing, go ahead and stop doing that. After I'm done with this video here, I'm going to go ahead and make sure there's no worms in the little crevices of all these little bubbles. And this will be the last time that this thing sees the bin. So give this a try. Tell me what you think of it and tell me if you've tried it before. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing well. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.